Commander Jun-tae yawned as he watched the screens in front of him. Another boring day in the Epsilon sector. Nothing ever happened here. The Epsilon sector was far from the center of the Galactic Empire. It was rich in minerals and metals, but it was mostly empty space. The Empire used it as a buffer zone between their worlds and other species, including the humans. Humans. Jun-tae had only seen pictures of them. Strange creatures with only 2 arms and legs, soft skin, and hair on their heads. They had just started traveling between stars about 100 years ago. The Empire scientists called them a young species and didn't think much of them. Humans had a few colony planets near their home system, but they weren't seen as important. "Sir, I'm picking up something strange," called Ensign Hyun from his station. Jun-tae sighed. "Probably just space rocks again." "What is it, Ensign?" "I'm not sure, sir. It's a big energy reading. Very big. And it's moving." Now Jun-tae was interested. He walked over to Hyun's screen. The young officer pointed to a blinking dot on his scanner. "It just appeared, sir. Nothing comes into a sector that fast unless it uses jump technology." Captain Yoon-jin, a tall woman with sharp eyes, joined them at the screen. "Run it through the ship database," she ordered. Hyun's fingers moved quickly over the controls. After a moment, the computer beeped. "Sir." "Ma'am, the computer says it's a human ship." Jun-tae laughed. "That's impossible. The scanner must be broken." "No, sir," Hyun said. "I checked twice. It's definitely a ship, and it's definitely using human identification codes." Yoon-jin frowned. "Human ships can't travel this far into Empire space. They don't have the technology." "That's what I thought too," said Hyun. "But look at these energy readings. They're off the charts. This isn't like any human ship we've seen before. These readings suggest, well, they suggest it's a warship." Jun-tae felt a cold feeling in his stomach. Humans were not supposed to have warships this far from their territory. They weren't supposed to have ships that could produce energy readings like this at all. "Send a message to Imperial Command," he ordered. "Tell them we have an unidentified human vessel in the Epsilon sector with military-grade energy signatures." "Yes, sir," said the communications officer. "And send a message to the human ship," Jun-tae added. "Tell them they are in restricted Imperial space and must identify themselves immediately." The bridge crew worked quickly. Jun-tae returned to his command chair, trying to look calm. Inside, his mind was racing. If humans had technology this advanced, why hadn't the Empire known about it? What else might they be hiding? "Sir, I've sent the message to Imperial Command," reported the communications officer. "They want us to keep the human ship under observation until reinforcements arrive." "And the humans?" "They've responded to our hail, sir. Text only. It says, 'Imperial vessel, this is the Earth Confederation ship Defiance on a peaceful exploration mission. We apologize for any alarm our presence may cause.'" "Peaceful exploration?" Unjin scoffed. "In a warship? Do they think we're stupid?" Jun-tae studied the readings again. The human ship wasn't moving. It just sat there in space, as if waiting. "Sir," Ensign Hyun called out again, his voice shaking. "I've done a more detailed scan. The human ship? It's unlike anything in our database. The hull is made of materials we don't recognize. And the power source? Sir, it's operating at efficiency levels that our scientists have only dreamed about." The bridge fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. If humans had technology this advanced, everything the Empire thought it knew about them was wrong. "How long until reinforcements arrive?" Jun-tae asked. "The nearest battle group is 6 hours away, sir." 6 hours alone with a mysterious human warship. Jun-tae didn't like those odds. "Send another message to the humans," he ordered. "Ask them to explain their presence in this sector." Minutes ticked by as they waited for a response. Finally, the communications officer spoke up. "They've responded, sir. They say they're conducting peaceful exploration in accordance with Article 7 of the Imperial Human Treaty of 2187. Yoon-jin frowned. "Article 7? What's that?" The ship's computer answered. "Article 7 allows for scientific exploration in neutral zones with proper notification, But this isn't a neutral zone, Juntae said, and we received no notification. Actually, sir, the communications officer said, checking his logs, there was a notification filed with the Imperial Diplomatic Office 3 standard months ago. It just wasn't forwarded to our sector command. Juntae felt his headache growing. This was becoming a diplomatic mess. If the humans had filed proper paperwork and the Empire had failed to process it, they might actually be within their rights to be here. Sir, Hyun called again. The human ship is deploying something. Everyone tensed. Is it weapons? Juntae demanded. No, sir. It looks like a probe of some kind. Small, unarmed. On the main screen, they watched as a small device separated from the human ship and began moving slowly toward a nearby asteroid field. They're really acting like they're on a scientific mission, Yoonjin said, sounding confused. Or they want us to think they are, Juntae replied. The communications officer spoke up again. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the human ship. Video this time. Put it on screen, Juntae ordered. The main view screen changed to show a human face. It was a male with short black hair and calm eyes. He wore a crisp blue uniform, with unfamiliar symbols on the shoulders. Imperial vessel, I am Captain Ji-ho of the Earth Confederation ship Defiance. I understand our presence here has caused some concern. Please allow me to assure you that our mission is purely scientific. We are studying the unusual mineral compositions in this sector's asteroid field. All necessary diplomatic clearances were filed months ago. The human spoke perfect Imperial standard without even a translator device. Another surprise. This is Commander Juntae of the Imperial Border Fleet. Juntae replied. Your vessel's power signatures suggest military capabilities far beyond what is registered for human ships in our database. The human captain smiled slightly. Yes, I imagine they would. The Defiance is a new class of exploration vessel. Perhaps your database needs updating. Before Juntae could respond, the sensor officer called out, Sir, 3 more ships just appeared at the edge of the sector, Imperial battlecruisers. The reinforcements had arrived early. Juntae felt relieved, but also strangely disappointed. He had been handling the situation well. On the screen, Captain Ji-ho nodded. It seems your friends have arrived. We will continue our research while you sort things out. We have nothing to hide. The transmission ended. Sir, said Yoonjin quietly, if humans have ships like this and technology we don't understand, what else might they have that we don't know about? Juntae had no answer. But as he watched the massive Imperial battlecruisers approach the single human ship, he couldn't shake the feeling that the balance of power in the galaxy had just shifted in ways no one in the Empire had expected. And something told him this was just the beginning. Grand Admiral Dae-ho had never moved so quickly in his long career. When the alert about the human warship reached Imperial High Command, he had been in the middle of his dinner. He left his food untouched and rushed to the command center. Now, he stood before a large holographic display showing the human ship surrounded by 3 Imperial battlecruisers. Show me the scans again, he ordered. A young officer named Kim tapped at his control panel, and new images appeared. They showed detailed readings of the human ship's power systems, hull composition, and weapons. This makes no sense, Admiral Dae muttered. Humans are a Class 3 species. They shouldn't have this level of technology for at least another 200 years. The scans are clear, sir, said Kim. The human vessel's power source is operating. At 87% efficiency, our best ships only reach 63%. Admiral Dae turned to the other officers in the command center. Where's military strategist Mina? I need her assessment. Here, Admiral. A tall woman with purple-tinted skin entered the room. Mina belonged to the Xanthi species, known for their brilliant strategic minds. Her skin changed color with her emotions, and right now the deep purple showed she was troubled. What do you make of this? Admiral Dae asked her. Mina studied the scans carefully. This is not a sudden advancement, she said finally. No species jumps this far ahead in technology without steps in between. The humans have been hiding their true progress from us. A cold silence fell over the room. The idea that a lesser species had been deceiving the mighty Galactic Empire was shocking. But why? asked an officer. Why hide their abilities? Because we treated them as inferiors, Mina said simply. We classified them as Class 3, which limited their access to certain regions of space, trade routes, and diplomatic forums. If they revealed their true capabilities, we would have reclassified them and treated them differently. By hiding their advancement, they could observe us without being seen as a threat. Admiral Day frowned. Are they a threat now? That's what we need to determine, Mina replied. So far, the human ship has taken no aggressive action, but its presence in this sector is clearly a message. The Admiral turned to his communications officer. Get me the commander of the fleet at Epsilon Sector. Moments later, Commander Juntai's face appeared on the main screen. Report, Commander, Admiral Day ordered. Sir, the human vessel remains stationary. It has deployed scientific probes to the nearby asteroid field, consistent with their claim of a research mission. They have made no threatening moves, even after our battlecruisers arrived. Have you established communication with their captain? Yes, sir. Captain Jiho seems very cooperative. He speaks perfect Imperial Standard and claims all proper diplomatic clearances were filed for this mission. Admiral Day exchanged glances with Mina. This was getting more complicated. Commander, I want you to send a diplomatic envoy to the human ship. Invite Captain Jiho to explain his presence in person, but keep the battlecruisers in position. Yes, sir. After the communication ended, Admiral Day turned to Mina. I need to inform the Emperor. This situation could change everything we thought we knew about the power balance in this quadrant. In the Imperial Palace on Nexus Prime, Emperor Sung, Gil sat on his crystal throne, listening as Admiral Day explained the situation. The Emperor was younger than most expected, having taken the throne just 10 years ago after his father's death. His face showed no emotion as he listened, but his fingers tapped nervously on the armrest of his throne. You believe these humans have been deceiving us? The Emperor asked when Day finished speaking. The evidence suggests so, Your Radiance, Day replied. Their ship contains technology that our scientists have only theorized about. They couldn't have developed this overnight. And what do they want? Why reveal themselves now? We don't know yet. We've sent an envoy to speak with their captain. The Emperor stood and walked to a large window overlooking the capital city. Millions of lights twinkled below, representing countless citizens who trusted him to keep them safe. If humans have this level of technology, what else might they have? Weapons, defenses. It's possible, Your Radiance. Could they challenge the Empire? Admiral Day chose his words carefully. A single advanced ship doesn't make them our equal. But if they have a fleet of such vessels, and if they've made other advancements we don't know about, then yes, they could pose a significant challenge. The Emperor's shoulders tensed. I want Minister Sun and the full council assembled within the hour. And I want every piece of information we have on humans, their history, their wars, their psychology. Everything. Yes, Your Radiance. As Admiral Day left to carry out his orders, the Emperor remained at the window, staring out at the stars barely visible above the city lights. So small a species, he murmured, to cause such a large problem. Back in the Epsilon sector, Commander Juntae prepared to board a shuttle to the human vessel. Captain Yoon Jin would remain in command of their ship. I don't like this, Yooni, Jin said as Juntae checked his ceremonial uniform. Going onto their ship puts you at their mercy. The diplomatic protocols are clear, Juntae replied. They invited us on board after we requested a meeting. Refusing would be seen as fear or hostility. Maybe a little fear is warranted, Yoon Jin muttered. Juntae smiled. I'll be careful. Besides, I'm curious. No one from our ship has ever met a human in person before. The shuttle bay doors opened, and Juntae boarded the small vessel with 2 security officers. As they flew toward the human ship, he studied it through the viewport. It was smaller than the Imperial battlecruisers but sleeker, with smooth lines that somehow seemed more advanced. Its hull was a dark blue-gray that seemed to shift slightly when viewed from different angles. The shuttle entered a docking bay that opened smoothly in the side of the human ship. Inside, everything was brightly lit and spotlessly clean. A small group of humans waited as Jun-tae and his officers exited the shuttle. One human stepped forward. He was the same man Jun-tae had seen on the view screen, Captain Ji-ho. In a person, he seemed taller than Jun-tae had expected, with a calm presence that was immediately noticeable. "Commander Jun-tae," Captain Ji-ho said with a slight bow. "Welcome aboard the Defiance. I trust your journey was comfortable?" "Thank you, Captain," Jun-tae replied stiffly. "I'm here on behalf of Imperial Command to discuss your presence in this sector." Ji-ho nodded. "Of course, but first, would you care for some refreshments? We have prepared some foods that should be compatible with your biology." Jun-tae was about to refuse, but then he remembered his diplomatic training. Sharing food was an important trust-building exercise in many cultures. "That would be acceptable," he said. As they walked through the corridors of the human ship, Jun-tae couldn't help but notice the technology around him. Everything seemed more advanced than it should be for a Class 3 species. The doors opened. Without sound, the air was perfectly clean and fresh, and the crew members they passed all appeared healthy, well-trained, and confident. "Your ship is impressive," Jun-tae said carefully. Captain Ji-ho smiled. "Thank you. The Defiance is our newest Explorer-class vessel. We're quite proud of her." "Explorer class?" Jun-tae asked. "Not a warship?" Ji-ho's smile didn't waver. "Commander, in human history we learned that exploration and defense often go hand in hand. The Defiance is primarily a scientific vessel, but yes, she can defend herself if necessary." They entered a meeting room with a large window showing the stars and the Imperial battle cruisers in the distance. Food and drinks were already laid out on a table. "Please sit," Ji-ho said. "I believe it's time we had an honest conversation about humanity's place in the galaxy." Jun-tae felt a chill run down his spine. Something told him that after this meeting, nothing in the Empire would ever be the same again. Commander Jun-tae sat across from Captain Ji-ho in the meeting room of the human ship. The food between them remained mostly untouched. Jun-tae had too many questions to focus on eating. "You said we should discuss humanity's place in the galaxy," Jun-tae began. "What did you mean by that?" Ji-ho took a small sip from his cup before answering. "The Empire has classified humans as a Class 3 species for nearly a century. That classification limits where we can go, who we can trade with, and what resources we can access. Classifications are based on technological development," Jun-tae replied. "They ensure species interact only with others at a similar level. It prevents cultural shock and exploitation." "So we're told," Ji-ho said with a small smile. "Yet this ship suggests humans are beyond Class 3, wouldn't you agree?" Jun-tae couldn't deny the obvious. "Yes, this vessel shows technology far beyond what we believed humans possessed. Which raises the question, how long have you been hiding your true capabilities?" Instead of answering directly, Ji-ho pressed a button on the table. A holographic display appeared between them, showing the human home system. 73 years ago, an Imperial science vessel visited Earth. They studied us, categorized us, and left. Based on their brief observation, humans were classified as Class 3, a young species with limited potential. The display changed to show various human ships and stations. "The public-facing technology we showed the galaxy matched what you expected to see," Ji-ho continued. "Simple ion drives, basic shields, limited weapons. But behind this facade, we continued our own development path." "You deliberately deceived the Empire," Jun-tae said, feeling both impressed and disturbed. "We adapted to the rules imposed on us," Ji-ho corrected. "The Empire's classification system isn't just about technology, it's about control. Higher-class species get access to better trade routes, more resources, and stronger political voices." Woman entered the room and stood beside Ji-ho. She wore a different uniform, white with silver trim. "This is Ambassador Yuna," Ji-ho introduced her. "She can explain the diplomatic situation better than I can." Yuna nodded politely to Jun-tae. "Commander, when your people classified us as Class 3, we faced a choice. Accept the limitations placed on us or work around them. We chose the latter. By hiding your true capabilities, Juntae said. By developing along paths your scientists didn't anticipate, Yuna corrected. While the Empire focused on power through antimatter reactions, we explored gravity manipulation. While you perfected quantum communications, we discovered subspace frequencies. Our technologies developed differently, not necessarily better, or worse. Juntae struggled to process this information. But why reveal yourselves now? Why bring this ship to a restricted sector? Jiho and Yuna exchanged glances. Because it was time, Jiho said simply. Humanity has reached a point where we can no longer grow within the artificial constraints placed upon us. We need access to resources and regions currently forbidden to Class 3 species. And you think the Empire will simply reclassify you because you showed up with one advanced ship? Juntae asked. No, Yuna said. We expect resistance. Change is never easy, especially for an empire that has existed for thousands of years. But this ship isn't alone. Juntae felt a chill. What do you mean? Jiho touched the display controls again. The hologram showed a star map of the galaxy with dozens of blinking lights. As we speak, human vessels similar to the Defiance are appearing at key locations throughout the Empire, all following proper diplomatic protocols, all officially on scientific missions. This is, Juntae struggled to find the right word. This is a coordinated show of force. We prefer to call it a diplomatic introduction, Yuna said. We aren't threatening anyone, we're simply showing who we really are. On the bridge of his ship, Captain Yun-jin paced nervously. Commander Juntae had been on the human vessel for over an hour. Any word from the commander? She asked the communications officer. No, Captain, but we are receiving strange reports from other sectors. It seems human ships have been detected in at least 7 other locations across Imperial space. Yun-jin stopped pacing. 7 other ships like this one? Yes, Captain. All appeared suddenly, all claimed to be on scientific missions. The tactical officer spoke up. Captain, we're receiving a priority message from Imperial Command. Put it through, Yun-jin ordered. Admiral Day's face appeared on the main screen. He looked tense. Captain Yun-jin, where is Commander Juntae? Still aboard the human vessel. Sir, should we extract him? No. That might be seen as a hostile action. We need to avoid any appearance of aggression. Yun-jin was surprised. Sir? Admiral Day sighed. We have confirmed reports of similar human vessels in multiple sectors. All appeared simultaneously, all with the same advanced technology. The Emperor has called an emergency session of the full council. What are our orders, sir? Maintain position. Continue monitoring the human ship. But do not, under any circumstances, take hostile action. Is that clear? Yes, sir. After the Admiral's image disappeared, Yun-jin turned to her bridge crew. They all looked worried. How could we have missed this? The science officer asked. How could humans hide such advancement? Yun-jin had no answer. She looked at the view screen showing the human ship. It didn't seem threatening, but its very existence challenged everything she thought she knew about the galaxy. Back on the human ship, Commander Juntae was being given a tour. Jiho led him through various sections. The science labs, the engine room, the medical bay. Everything was clean, efficient, and clearly more advanced than it should be. Your ship is impressive, Juntae admitted as they walked. But I still don't understand why humans kept their development secret for so long. Jiho stopped walking and turned to face him. Commander, let me ask you something. If you discovered a new species tomorrow that had technology equal to the Empire's, how would you treat them? With respect, Juntae answered immediately. As equals. Exactly, Jiho said. But when you found us with what you thought was lesser technology, did you treat us as equals? Juntae had no answer. The Empire's classification system creates an automatic bias, Ambassador Yuna explained, walking alongside them. Class 3, species are seen as less developed, less intelligent, less worthy of respect. We were tired of being underestimated. The Defiance isn't a warship in the traditional sense, Jiho added. Think of it as a statement. We are not what you thought. We were, and we will no longer be treated as such. They reached the bridge of the ship. It was smaller than the bridge of an Imperial vessel, but somehow more efficient. Crew members worked at various stations monitoring the ship's systems. "Commander," Jiho said, "humanity doesn't want conflict with the Empire. We want recognition. We want fair treatment. We want the right to explore the galaxy without artificial limits placed on us." Juntae looked around the bridge, at the calm, confident human crew. He thought about what he had seen and heard. These weren't the actions of a species preparing for war. This was something else, a carefully planned diplomatic maneuver. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now," Ambassador Yuna said, "we wait for the Empire to decide how to respond. They can recognize our true capabilities and adjust our classification accordingly, or they can resist change and create unnecessary tension." Juntae thought about the Emperor, about the traditions of the Empire that had lasted for thousands of years. Change would not come easily. "This will cause quite a stir in the Imperial Palace," he said. Jiho smiled. "That was the idea, Commander. Sometimes a little stir is exactly what's needed to break old patterns." As Juntae prepared to return to his ship, he wondered what the future would hold. The galaxy he knew was changing before his eyes. The comfortable certainties of Imperial power suddenly seemed less certain, and it had all started with a single question. Why is a human warship within this sector? The Imperial Palace had never been so busy. All 207 members of the full council had gathered in the Great Crystal Chamber. They represented every major species in the Empire. Some had traveled for days to reach Nexus Prime after the emergency call. Emperor Sung Gil sat on his throne, looking at the worried faces before him. The room buzzed with nervous talk. Many counselors had already heard rumors about advanced human ships appearing across the Empire. "Silence," the Emperor called, and the room quickly quieted. "We are here to discuss a matter of great importance to the Empire. Director Min will present the facts." Intelligence Director Min stepped forward. She was small but had a commanding presence. Her dark eyes surveyed the room before she spoke. "Honored counselors, approximately 30 hours ago, a human vessel entered the Epsilon sector. Initial scans revealed technology far beyond what we believed humans possessed. Since then, similar vessels have appeared in 8 other sectors across Imperial space." A murmur ran through the crowd. Min continued. "All human ships claim to be on scientific missions. All have filed the proper diplomatic notices. All remain in stationary positions and have taken no aggressive actions. But make no mistake, these are not the simple vessels of a Class 3 species." She activated a large holographic display in the center of the chamber. It showed detailed scans of the human ship. "Our analysis shows that human technology has developed along paths we did not anticipate. Their power systems operate at efficiencies we have only achieved in theoretical models. Their hull materials contain elements unknown to our science. Their propulsion systems use principles our physicists are still struggling to understand." The council erupted in overlapping voices. Some called for immediate military action. Others demanded diplomatic solutions. A few suggested the whole thing might be a trick or illusion. "Silence," the Emperor commanded again. When order returned, he spoke calmly. "The question before us is not whether humans have advanced technology. The evidence is clear. The question is, how did they hide their development from us, and why have they chosen to reveal themselves now?" Director Min nodded. "Our investigation suggests that humans have been conducting a deliberate misinformation campaign for decades. They showed us only what they wanted us to see, while developing their true capabilities in secret." "Impossible," declared Counselor Pax, a senior member from a central system. "No species could hide such advancement from Imperial intelligence." "Actually, it's quite possible," came a new voice. All heads turned as Grand Scholar Ju approached the center of the chamber. He was the Empire's leading expert on alien species and cultures. "Scholar Ju," the Emperor acknowledged, "you have insights to share?" "Yes, Your Radiance. I've been studying human history since this crisis began. Unlike most species we've encountered, humans evolved under constant threat, from predators, from their environment, and most importantly from each other. He touched the controls, and the display changed to show images of early human history, tribes, wars, and survival struggles. For most of their history, humans were divided into competing groups. They developed deception as a survival strategy. Appearing weaker than you actually are can prevent attacks. Hiding your true capabilities gives you an advantage. You're saying they applied tribal thinking to galactic politics? Asked Counselor Pax, sounding skeptical. Precisely, Scholar Jew replied. When we classified them as Class 3, limiting their access and influence, they didn't protest. They adapted. They showed us the technology we expected to see while developing in directions we weren't watching. The Emperor leaned forward. And now they reveal themselves. Why? Because they've reached a point where the benefits of hiding no longer outweigh the benefits of being recognized for their true capabilities, Scholar Jew explained. They want access to resources, trade routes, and diplomatic forums currently closed to them as a Class 3 species. This is outrageous, Counselor Pax exclaimed. They deceived the Empire for decades. We should respond with force, show them the consequences of such deception. Military strategist Mina, who had been standing quietly near the Emperor, finally spoke. That would be unwise, Counselor. We don't know the full extent of human capabilities. These 9 ships may be just the beginning. If they've hidden this much from us, what else might they be hiding? A heavy silence fell over the chamber as everyone considered this possibility. What do the humans say? Asked a counselor from the outer systems. Have they made demands? Director Min shook her head. No demands. Their official communication simply states they wish to be recognized for their true level of development and integrated appropriately into the galactic community. They want reclassification, the Emperor said. Yes, Your Radiance, they wish to be recognized as a Tier 1 autonomous civilization, with all associated rights and privileges. More murmurs spread through the chamber. Tier 1 status would put humans on nearly equal footing with the founding species of the Empire. The Emperor stood, silencing the room once more. We need more information before making any decision. I want direct communication with the human leadership. Arrange a meeting with their highest authority. Yes, Your Radiance, Director Min bowed. Commander Jun Tae had returned to his ship hours ago, but he couldn't stop thinking about what he had seen on the human vessel. He sat in his quarters, writing his official report, trying to describe the advanced technology in simple terms. A chime at his door interrupted his thoughts. Enter, he called. Captain Yoon Jin stepped inside. She looked tired. The Admiral wants to speak with you. It seems your visit to the human ship has made you something of an expert. Jun Tae sighed. I'm hardly an expert. I still don't understand half of what I saw. You've seen more than most, Yoon Jin pointed out. The whole Empire is talking about these human ships now. 9 vessels all appearing simultaneously, all with technology we didn't think possible for them. 10, Jun Tae corrected. Yoon Jin frowned. What? There are 10 ships, Jun Tae said. Captain Ji Ho mentioned that the Defiance is their newest model. He called it an Explorer-class vessel. Yoon Jin's eyes widened. You think there are more? Think we're only seeing what they want us to see. Just like we've only been seeing what they wanted us to see for the past 70 years. The communication screen on Jun Tae's desk lit up, showing Admiral Dae's face. Commander, the Admiral said, I need your impression of the humans you met, not the technical details. We have those from your report. I need your personal assessment. Are they preparing for conflict? Jun Tae thought carefully before answering. No, Admiral, I don't believe so. This feels more like a demonstration. They're showing their true capabilities because they want recognition. Could it be a prelude to more aggressive actions? Anything is possible, sir. But based on my interactions with Captain Ji Ho and Ambassador Yuna, I believe they genuinely want peaceful relations. They simply want those relations to be based on their actual level of development, not our misconceptions. Admiral Dae nodded slowly. The Emperor has called for direct communication with human leadership. Your experience may be valuable in that meeting. Prepare to transfer to the Imperial flagship. After the Admiral's image disappeared, Yoon Jin looked at Jun Tae with concern. You're becoming deeply involved in this. I didn't ask to be. Jun Tae replied. I was just doing my job. Your job was border patrol in a quiet sector, Jin said with a small smile. Now you're advising the Emperor on a situation that could change the Empire forever. Jun Tae laughed softly. All because we spotted one strange ship. Life takes unexpected turns. As he packed a few belongings for his transfer to the flagship, Jun Tae wondered what would happen next. The Empire had stood for thousands of years, rarely challenged, rarely surprised. Now it faced something entirely unexpected, a species that had quietly advanced beyond all predictions and was ready to claim its place in the galaxy. The age-old certainties of Imperial dominance suddenly seemed less certain than ever before. The observation deck of the Imperial flagship Eternal Glory offered a breathtaking view of the planet Nexus Prime. Commander Jun Tae stood quietly near the window, watching the planet's rings catch the light of its twin suns. Behind him, Admiral Day and several high-ranking officials were preparing for the meeting with the human representatives. Commander, Admiral Day called. They're ready to begin transmission. The Emperor will join shortly. Jun Tae nodded and moved away from the window. The observation deck had been transformed into a formal meeting space. A large holographic projector dominated the center of the room. The humans have requested to send a delegation in person, said Minister Sun, the Emperor's representative. The Emperor has agreed. Their shuttle will arrive in 20 minutes. This news surprised Jun Tae. They're coming here? Not just communicating by hologram? They insisted, Minister Sun replied. They said some discussions should happen face to face. The doors slid open and Emperor Sungil entered the room. Everyone bowed deeply. The Emperor was dressed in formal attire, his crystal crown catching the light. Rise, he commanded. Let us prepare to greet our unexpected guests. Jun Tae had never been so close to the Emperor before. He seemed younger in person, and there was a tension in his face that official images never showed. Commander Jun Tae, the Emperor said, turning to him. You have spent time aboard their vessel. What should we expect from these humans? Jun Tae chose his words carefully. They are confident but not aggressive, Your Radiance. They believe they deserve recognition for their true capabilities. In their view, they are simply correcting a misunderstanding, not challenging the Empire. The Emperor nodded slowly. We shall see. 20 minutes later, a human shuttle docked with the Imperial flagship. Captain Ji-ho and Ambassador Yuna entered the observation deck along with another human Jun Tae hadn't met before. Your Imperial Radiance, Ambassador Yuna said, bowing respectfully. I am Ambassador Yuna of the Earth Confederation. Allow me to present Captain Ji-ho of the Defiance and Director Huan, our Chief Diplomatic Officer. The Emperor acknowledged them with a slight nod. Welcome aboard the Eternal Glory. I understand you wish to meet in person rather than by hologram. Some conversations are better had face-to-face, Director Huan said. He was older than the others with gray hair and calm eyes, especially when discussing a new chapter in our relationship. A relationship built on deception, Minister Sun noted. Coldly, Ambassador Yuna remained calm. We prefer to call it adaptation, Minister. When the Empire classified humanity as a Class 3 species, limiting our access and influence, we adapted to those conditions while continuing our own development. You hid your true capabilities, the Emperor said. We did, Director Huan acknowledged. But today we wish to be honest, to show you who we really are and to establish a relationship based on mutual respect. The Emperor gestured to the seats arranged around the room. Then let us talk honestly. What exactly does humanity want from the Empire? The human representatives sat, as did the Emperor and his officials. Director Huan spoke first. We want recognition of our true level of development. We want reclassification as a Tier 1 autonomous civilization, with all the rights and responsibilities that entails. A significant change, the Emperor noted. What would the Empire gain from such an arrangement? Ambassador Yuna leaned forward. Access to technologies and innovations you haven't seen before. Human scientists have developed along different paths than Imperial researchers. We've solved problems you're still working on, just as you've solved problems we haven't yet addressed. For example, Captain Jiho added, the Defiance's power core operates on principles your scientists have only theorized about. We could share this technology. Admiral Day couldn't hide his interest. And what would you expect in return? Equal treatment, Director Huan said simply. Access to trade routes and resources currently restricted to us. Representation in diplomatic forums. The ability to explore regions of space now forbidden to us. The Emperor studied the human representatives carefully. And if we refuse, what then? Is this a threat? Not at all, Director Huan replied calmly. The ships we've sent to various sectors are meant to demonstrate our capabilities, not to threaten. They will remain in position, conducting their stated scientific missions, nothing more. But they will not leave, the Emperor noted. They will not, Huan confirmed. Their presence serves as a reminder of reality, the reality that humanity is more advanced than you previously believed. We cannot return to pretending otherwise. A silence fell over the room as the Emperor considered this. Finally, he spoke. I have ruled the Empire for only 10 years. In that time, I have faced rebellions, natural disasters, and political challenges. But never have I encountered a situation quite like this. A species that hid its true nature for decades, only to reveal itself when ready. He stood and walked to the window, looking out at his capital world. The Empire has lasted for 8,000 years because it adapts. Those who cannot adapt do not survive long in this galaxy. Turning back to the room, the Emperor looked directly at Director Huan. The full council will need to approve any reclassification. There will be resistance. Many will see this as rewarding deception. We understand, Huan replied. We are prepared to be patient to a point. The Emperor nodded. I will recommend your reclassification to the Council. In return, I expect full transparency about human capabilities from this point forward. No more secrets. Ambassador Yuna bowed her head. That is acceptable, Your Radiance. Then we have an agreement in principle, the Emperor said. The details will take time to work out. Minister Sun will coordinate with your diplomatic team. As the formal meeting concluded, Juntae found himself standing near Captain Jiho. You planned this for a long time, didn't you? Juntae asked quietly. Jiho smiled. Longer than you might imagine. The Defiance was built specifically for this moment, to make a statement that couldn't be ignored. And now, what happens to your ship? Now we do what humans have always dreamed of doing, Jiho replied. We explore. The Defiance may have been conceived as a political tool, but it's still a ship of exploration at heart. Will you stay in this sector? Juntae asked. For a while. There's much to study here. And perhaps, Jiho hesitated. Perhaps our crews could learn from each other. A cultural exchange now that we're being honest about who we are. Juntae considered this. A week ago, the idea of working closely with humans would have seemed strange. Now, after everything he had seen, he was curious. I think that could be arranged, he said. 1 month later, Juntae stood on the bridge of his ship, watching as the Defiance prepared to depart the Epsilon sector. The human vessel had remained as promised, conducting research on the asteroid field. During that time, Imperial and human crews had begun the slow process of getting to know each other. The Emperor had kept his word. The full council had voted narrowly to reclassify humans as a Tier 1 civilization. In exchange, humanity had shared some of their technological advances. It was the beginning of a new relationship. Their signaling commander reported. Ensign Hyun, put it through, Juntae ordered. Captain Jiho's face appeared on the screen. Commander Juntae, we're preparing to depart for the Andromeda Reach. The Emperor has granted us permission to explore regions previously restricted to us. Safe travels, Captain, Juntae replied. I hope our paths cross again. I'm sure they will, Jiho said with a smile. The galaxy just got smaller for all of us. As the Defiance moved away, its engines glowing with energy that Imperial scientists were still working to understand, Juntae reflected on how much had changed in just 1 month. The comfortable certainties of imperial dominance had been challenged. A new power had emerged on the galactic stage, and it had all started with a simple question that would go down in imperial history. Why is a human warship within this sector? The answer had changed everything.